speaking of the church, here we go. There is a new resource and help for the saints. I think that's interesting. They use the word saints there in the title on the church website. Love, share, and invite friends to activities and Sunday services. So basically what this is it's a new ward webpage, an activity sharing resource that helps members invite friends to activities and provide a simple way to love, share, and invite. That's kind of the concept there. It provides a way for stakes and wards to set up activities and then share them easily with others, right? To get an RSVP, to be able to publish it on social media. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you can just kind of click that button and it allows people to share what's going on in the ward so that others can come. So using the church calendar, ward leaders can create, publish activities on their new public-facing ward webpage. So again, get it out there, right? Use social media. This is the huge push, not just for the LDS church, for other churches too. This allows ward members to easily share and invite friends to join, people who are searching online. Now these activities are searchable, right? Is your ward having an Easter egg hunt? It used to just kind of be a flyer that you stuck on the door. Now somebody can find it by searching because it's very public facing. Local activities can find them and they can RSVP. So you're going to know, oh my gosh, we have 15 neighbors that are coming to this. Get the missionaries, right? So this is kind of how it works. So many wards use the social media page for event awareness, and now they can include the links to their published activities. So it's very interactive. You can find out who's coming, you can share it, and you can pass it along to get more people in the know about what's happening.
Rebecca, can I ask your opinion about something?
Sure.
Having been a member of the LDS Church for going on 50 years now,
yes,
and being active for the majority
60 years.
of that.
Thank you. You're kind. But yeah, 60 years next month. Go ahead.
Oh, so you just went up to me to your detriment?
Yeah, I did. I just said I've been a member of the church for 6 decades. Yeah.
All I know is that in my entire time and having to do with any social gatherings or parties or whatever, it has occurred to me that it doesn't appear that Mormons understand what the letters RSVP mean.
Yeah. No.
Have you had any success with that? With Mormons?
Well, I think that they tend to be really optimistic. When I used to help plan activities and we'd take flyers around and people would go, yeah, sure, we'll be there. Yeah. And we'd go, they're going to be there. So there is that sense that you might not understand. People are just being polite, but we'll see. So if you look at this picture here, and this is a video that they put out with this new introduction of this tool. So there's a family in the neighborhood just scrolling around going, what do you want to do this Saturday? I don't know. What do you want to do? And the wife says, oh my gosh, I see an Easter egg hunt. There it is. It says it's at a local building right near us. Should we go? Yes. Let's push RSVP. And there they are, because they push that button. The ward knows they're coming. Look at that incredible activity. It looks like that ward might have some kind of a budget, unless people paid for it by themselves.
It's the PR budget
about later. Yeah, and there's someone there to greet them, and they're there in the cultural hall for the activity. So that's kind of the concept. You can find the activity now on social media, right? So here's another thing that you can do. You yourself can decide who you want to invite to the activity, right? So I have the mother saying, whom should we invite? And the daughter says, oh my gosh, Mom, stop using all that old timey grammar. That's for you.
I hope the mother slaps that daughter across the face.
I hope she did too. I added those, but this is off the church video. So the mother says, look, we're having this decorating cookies for the old folks home. Who do you want to invite? And at the touch of a button, you can click on anybody in your social media to make them aware of this activity. So there's just a bunch of sharing going on. It is actually a good idea. I mean, honestly, this one here, they're sitting at a park bench and the woman says, oh, you came to the activity before. Did you like it? The woman says, we loved it. Would you like to come to another one? We'd love to see you there. And then she's able to pull it up on her phone. Look, here it is. Here are the details. I'm going to share this with you. Hit that RSVP button so we know how many brownies to make, right? So it is kind of a good idea. Here's where it gets really interesting to me, though. This is the part that just got me. It says ward social activities. They knit us together with even greater belonging and unity. Yes, 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 all of that. Then they say, let's describe these activities, because you're going to put it all over social media, in ways that a friend audience. Okay. So friend is a new word for investigator, right? So a friend, somebody who's not LDS, is no longer a non-member. They're a friend. They're just not a member yet, right? So let's use some terms that a friend, audience, and anybody unfamiliar with church terminology will understand. For example, instead of using the word sacrament meeting, event creators could say Sunday worship service, right? That sounds pretty nice, pretty innocuous, pretty general. Use descriptions like women's group and children's group instead of Relief Society and primary. And somebody pointed out, I did a couple of shorts on this, that, that helps SEO too. Nobody's going to look up sacrament meeting near me if they're a friend, a friend investigator type of person. They're going to look up worship service. So again, I see the church kind of leaving behind the stuff that makes us a little unique and weird and moving forward into mainstream Christianity. Although I do remember, and maybe you guys do too, a lot of talks about sacrament meeting. The reason it's called that is the sacrament is the focus. So doing away with that, calling it Sunday worship service, I don't know if there's a shift in focus. What do you think about this new terminology, either of you?
What I'll say is that, and I pointed this out lots of times, that high demand fundamentalist religions change their vocabulary all the time. And I can think of at least 5 reasons why they would do it. One, it does control thought, changing free agency to moral agency, home teaching, ministering, language. It shapes thought. When leadership changes a term, they can subtly reframe how members interpret the idea. The second one I can think of is brand refreshing and image management. The third one is boundary maintenance. I've said this lots of times, that you create an insider language, and when it changes from time to time, I've been out of the church for a while. I'm more prone to use the older language rather than the new terms that things have been changed to. So it's very easy for a believer to very quickly go, that guy's not exactly active anymore, and I can tell by the way he talks. So I think it performs a form of boundary maintenance. I think it allows them to tweak doctrine without admission. It allows them to make subtle changes. Again, the free agency to moral agency to representative agency. It is a doctrinal change, and yet they say nothing happened. And then I also think it can create emotional re-anchoring. So it allows members who maybe had baggage associated with the old term to sort of reset and refresh themselves and to start over. And so it gives lots of ways for the church to continue to manipulate people and to bind them to the faith by constantly, every so often, every 5 to 10 years, changing a handful of terms. It really is advantageous for an unhealthy system to do that.
The thing this shows really, really clearly is that the church is after you, okay? If you live anywhere in the radius of like a mile of a Mormon, you're in trouble, because Mormons see everybody who's not a member as a potential Mormon. This is a missionary church. And this article shows it, in addition to the things that Rebecca and Bill have talked about. It shows it in spades. This app, this activity sharing app or program, was developed or helped to be developed by whom? The church's missionary department. Surprise, surprise. This is all about getting people into the church, getting them taught the discussions by the missionaries, getting them baptized, and hopefully getting them paying tithing and going to the temple. So, and serving missions until they die. This is what this is about. So if you doubt the ardor with which I have described Mormons as missionaries, you need look no further for proof than this article.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. And I do know of missionaries who, long before this article have figured out that you don't invite somebody, to sacrament meeting. You say, hey, would you like to come to the worship service? Would your kids like to come to a Bible study? Would they like to meet the youth minister? So, and I totally agree with you, Bill. It's a way to kind of shut people down. Think about the word Mormon. Anytime we use the word Mormon, half the time we're shut down by people, right? They won't even listen past that word, and it sets you apart. So somebody said, I put out this post here. I wanted to get some people thinking about what are some other things. I got just the craziest, funniest things said back. I said, what are your ideas? For example, I call Fast Sunday wishing without food. That's my co-host Landon's idea. Perhaps tithing could be non-humanitarian stock portfolio contribution. It was kind of tongue in cheek, and I got a lot of really funny answers. Somebody said in 2020, they unleashed global faith leader, right? Let's just call our prophet a global faith leader. There it is, right? And this person has actually also heard ward council referred to as senior ministry team. Okay. Primary youth ministry. I've heard missionaries that use that. Mutual or young men, young women is teen ministry. Relief Society, women's ministry. I like this one. The High Council is the regional ministry team. The regional ministry team excommunicated me. Gosh, right? It sounds a little more important, right?
They withheld my membership.
That's right. Stake presidency, the regional senior ministry team. But again, these terms, people outside of the church are going to understand what this means. Makes this sound less weird. I don't know what they're going to call stakes. Stake is something that makes people, what is that? And when I deal with cities that have temple building going on, right? And they want to learn everything they can about the organization of a ward or things like that. Every one of them says, these words are so weird. What's a stake? Wait, a bishop isn't somebody that went to divinity school? Wait, a deacon is a kid?
Elder?
An elder is nobody. Yeah, there's a lot to surmount when it comes to the word. Exactly. So anyway, it's interesting that they're doing this now. Another thing they really focused on is make sure everything you talk about is Christ-centered, centered on Jesus Christ. Include phrases like Christ-centered, centered on Jesus, right? We're not going to talk about, well, what am I? Chopped liver, right? We're going to say we're Christian. We're going to talk about Jesus. Yeah. Are you raising your hand, RFM?
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Not only are they Mormons mercenary when it comes to missionary activity, they are also showing their hand that they want the members to portray them in a certain way. You see, I mean, it's one thing to be missionary minded. It's another thing to do it coupled with overt deception. Or is it direction? I think it's kind of deception. What do you think, Rebecca?
I just think it's a whole new way of presenting yourself. I was talking to somebody about temple open houses. I've been to a couple in the last couple of months, and all the paintings in the temple are Christ-centered, Christian, biblical scenes. I saw one painting from the Book of Mormon in a baptistry, Waters of Mormon. And I don't know if they take them down later and put up more Book of Mormon-centric paintings, but for the open house, it really is all very Christian, very familiar. Everything is out of the Bible. So,
and they have to put Jesus all over the inside of the walls of the temple because he's nowhere in the ceremonies.
Well, that may
be
be
a strange
changing.
thing. And most people think, of course he is. And then they think about it. If they've been to the temple and they go, well, wait a second.
Yeah,
There's that Jehovah character who walks around. And I say, yeah, that's not even the same guy as Jesus back when this was created.
This is true.
We're talking about Jesus, like the guy, the atonement, right?
Yeah. No, well, they did add him a little more to the film strip, the slideshow. As I understand it, there are some big changes in the works when it comes to that. Putting a little more.
Let me know when he gets some lines, okay?
Yeah. It's true. All right. And then, of course, the main point is that after all the planning and the promotion of the events, the final step is for the ward members to be friendly and to welcome all who attend activities, right? When you attend ward activities, look for people you don't know, say hello, welcome them, take time to get to know them, make sure they know what's happening and how to participate. So they're definitely encouraging everybody to be really friendly to everybody that shows up. So this is great.
It's a bad sign when you have to encourage your members to do that. And there's a reason they have to encourage them. And you know what it is as well as I do.
It can be awkward. I remember probably like 10 years ago, there was some kind of talk about put a smile on your face. Say, would you like to attend a barbecue? I mean, it's literally the most awkward thing, trying to teach them how to be natural. So some of the activities here are, this is Sunday worship. They kind of give an example. Here's a hike. And this I thought might be confusing to people for young women, 11 turning 12 to 18. And so I'm 11 turning 12. Like, what else would you be? I mean, of course they mean, within that year, but to somebody just seeing that on a page scrolling through, they'd go, well, what does that mean? 11 turning 12. Like there's any other
option. Graduating primary, doesn't it?
Well, it means as on January 1st, if you were turning 12 in that
Right.
next year, you can attend. But a normal person would go, what else would you turn after you turn 11? You know?
You attend
So
young women?
they're still a little LDS centric. Here's a list of activities. You can see there all kinds of things. I wondered if they might include their 7 tips for overcoming pornography use program. There's all kinds of those programs. I haven't seen those yet on the, online, but maybe they'll start putting those on there. All kinds of different offerings. And then, of course, I have to bring up the point. What activity? What do you mean an activity? I mean, I know that their activities are, they're kind of going by the side of the road, right? They just don't exist anymore
They
the way
are.
they used
And
to.
what's going on, Rebecca?
Well,
I just
I'm
want to
telling
say
you.
one thing. When I was a teenager and I went to the dances before I got baptized,
Yep.
so like from 76 on till I left on my mission, the Mormon church ruled on the
It
dances.
ruled. Yep. I will tell you what's going on. And that was actually one of the things in the video. A girl runs up to her friend. She's like, oh my gosh, we're having a dance this week. Look, and so-and-so is going to DJ. And the girls are like, is that at your church? She's like, yeah. And they're like, I want to RSVP. It was right in the video. And I'm thinking, okay, I know something about this because my husband and I used to DJ the youth activities for probably 10 years. And we saw it slowly slide into nothingness. And what really killed it in my stake, same-sex dancing. The kids wanted to do it. We had to make announcements all the time. They made us do it. Boys have to dance with girls. Girls have to dance with boys. And even girls in a group couldn't dance together. And so finally it devolved into a carnival with ping pong, stuff like that the kids didn't want to go to. So I don't know if they're doing dances. I think this idea of activities, I don't know, they're a little ambitious because there is no activity director anymore. The various auxiliaries are the ones that create the activities. Will this put more pressure on wards to have activities? And the big problem is, show me the money. Does this mean the ward budgets are going to be increased in order to have these amazing activities that you're going to put out on social media? I don't know.
That's
if they're gonna do
unlikely, I
that.
think. I don't think that's
so
going to happen.
too. So again, incredible pressure, right? We want to get the neighbors here. We got to have an activity. Everybody get together. It's just a lot. I don't think they're set up anymore to do that like they used to be. So that is the end of my story. Any comments on changing the words that we use and really putting an emphasis on activities that everybody in the community would want to attend? Where's the budget? That's what I say. And where are the people to plan it?
No, it's true. Yes. I cannot make bricks without straw.
That's right. That's exactly it.
And I think, RFM, you make a great point that this really is about them trying to attract the prospective investigator. That's a phrase they used to use too.
Yep.
But it really is a missionary effort. And Mormonism, we used to take pride in being a peculiar people, being strange, following strange rules, having strange terms. And I think as time goes on, the church would prefer to be less and less peculiar.
As much as they can. There are some hard stops. And I recently did a podcast about this that I'll put out in a bit. There are things that it's always going to be weird. There's no way around it.